The truth is, if you look at your brand story down on paper and think it through, yeah, just like you said, your marketing will be cohesive, but it will make your life so much easier when you're trying to create content, because depending on where you are in the funnel, like if you're just trying to build brand awareness, then you can look at your brand story and see what part of it you need to use up there. And if you're trying to convert in sale. So this video view campaign helps us identify which cold audience work well. We can create an even better cold audience because we can create lookalikes of people that actually watch the video. And then we can retarget those. So a warm audience is people that actually watch the video.
Our guest today, Meredith Kallaher, helps business owners develop and implement marketing strategies that expand their reach and explode their sales. She helps them locate their target audience and then effectively communicate the values of their business and move prospects quickly along the customer journey to sales. In this conversation, we talked about the iOS update and its implications on Facebook ads, building an audience using the Facebook video views objective, how to build a lead magnet and what you should do with the emails you've acquired. And Meredith also shared a cool CPM arbitrage trick that can be done before the holiday season. This is a very interesting conversation for people who are using Facebook ads, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Welcome to the EcomXFactor podcast, where it's all about launching and scaling your business using sales funnels, automations, and smart marketing. And now, please welcome your host, the founder of EcomXFactor, Yaron Bin.
Hi Meredith, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited for our talk.
Me too. I'm so excited to talk to the EcomXFactor listeners.
Awesome, great. I'm also very excited because you brought up the topic of iOS 14, which I haven't talked about it yet in the podcast, and I think it's very important and relevant. So it's good that you brought it up because I somehow overlooked this. So I'm looking forward for us diving into this topic as well.
Well, you must not have been in the weeds of Facebook ads in the past 2 months. Otherwise, it would be at the top of your radar because it's really wreaked havoc in the Facebook world.
Yeah, so I made the changes, but I didn't create any content about this. So yeah obviously I made the changes, verifying the domain that you said before, hopping on the call and making the changes of the events and stuff like that, which we are going to elaborate later. But I forgot to create a content about this. So I'm happy we have the opportunity.
Oh, good. Me too.
Awesome. Great. So can you share a bit about your background and how you ended up being a Facebook ad expert and having a coaching and agency?
So I have a company, a boutique marketing agency. I like that word, boutique. Nice. I went out on my own about 1.5 years ago, and I became a Facebook ads manager really because I love numbers. And when I started my career years ago in accounting, and I kind of got the dream job for an accounting major out of college and worked for one of the big, it was 6 then, I'm dating myself, but now it's 4, and worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers and hated every second of it. But I did that for 6 years, and I've always loved numbers, but I just didn't enjoy like the corporate. And also the the highly paid accountants don't really deal with numbers anymore. It's reporting and massaging, and deciding on what we should record and what we shouldn't. And it's super boring. And so when I left PwC, I really just started into all different kinds of entrepreneurial pursuits. And I started raising 3 babies that are now teenagers. And so anyway, pursued different things and really fell in love with marketing. And at one point hired an ads manager for one of my businesses. And when I saw what they were doing with Facebook and Instagram ads, I thought, I would be so good at this, because there's really digital ads are all about the numbers and reading the numbers and calculating and extrapolating and forecasting, and then there's a creative piece, especially on the social side, and I love that part too, which is what I kind of cultivated not in school or at Pricewaterhouse, but afterwards in my entrepreneurial pursuits. So anyway, that's how I found Facebook and Instagram ads, and it's been super fun. I really love to write, and which there's a piece of that in ad copy. But over the years, I learned to love to tell businesses stories. I'm really interested in brand stories, and I like Donald Miller's book, Story Brand Marketing, where we make the customer the hero of a business's journey, and the customer is their own hero. So I do a little copywriting as well as Facebook and Instagram ads.
Awesome. I just had a consulting session with one of my clients, and I told him that he's building a brand. And I told him that he needs to think about the brand's value and the message and the story. So how do you go about and do you have like a framework or a process that you follow in order to do this?
Yes, I followed Donald Miller's framework that he outlined. You know this book? It was a New York Times
I haven't read it, but I heard about it, but I haven't read it.
I usually have it sitting close to me, but he has a 7-part framework, and he even has, I can share, we might have to put it in the show notes, but he has a free website. It's like storybrand.com where it walks you through putting the story together. But yeah, you just, you think about the customer's problem and the solution that you offer. I tell my clients when I'm doing that, the business is supposed to be like the Morgan Freeman of the movie or the narrator, and so what solution does Morgan put in front of our hero, and then how do they help themselves? But yeah, I think it's, and even with ads too, like if you can really think about the value that they get after they work with you, sometimes and work backwards, that's helpful. Like, okay, this is what they want and what they get and all the benefits. And then what were their problems when they didn't have it? Yeah. That's where they start, But Donald Miller's book is great.
Awesome. I think that many people kind of overlook this, especially when they are just starting out. They are rushing to create the ads, but they don't think it through, and then the message isn't consistent enough. Do you feel the same? Have you encountered this as well?
Yes, and I'm I'm an Enneagram 7. I don't know if you follow the Enneagram, but I love to like run and jump and go to the next thing, and I don't like to do. Well, that's why I think I didn't like working for Pricewaterhouse. I didn't like all the boring detail. But the truth is, if you look at your brand story down on paper and think it through, just like you said, your marketing will be cohesive. But it will make your life so much easier when you're trying to create content, because depending on where you are in the funnel, like if you're just trying to build brand awareness, then you can look at your brand story and see what part of it you need to use up there. And if you're trying to convert in sale, it just, if you'll sit down and write it out and really put it together with your brand guide. I mean, I think that's helpful too. Like, sit down, get your logo and your colors and your fonts together. Even if you don't hire someone to help you, if you have that all in place, then when you're ready, when you start to go with, even organic social posts or ads or building your website, you have a document to look at, your story and your colors and fonts and logo.
Do you think that this should be done like at the first step? Because some people, they don't like the fluff, and they would prefer going to the direct response first, getting some signals, and then going backwards and building the story brand and stuff like that. So what is your opinion about this?
As far as the story brand and the colors and the fonts, I would sit down and do it first. Now, I'm not saying you have to invest any money. I did when I started my boutique agency, I decided to pay a graphic designer for the brand guide. I do a little bit of that just for social media ads, but that's not my talent. And it was I knew that I would spend less time struggling, like, does this color go with that color? It just was nice to have her expert opinion and then take off. But like I said, you can use Donald Miller's free tool, write out your brand story. It can literally be in a notebook. You don't have to spend money on that. You don't have to spend money on the logo or the font. Go to Canva, make yourself a logo, just decide on some colors and then stick with it, because you'll be happy. It really will save you time, because then when you get to the ad creation, you can just go.
I agree. And I love Canva so much. I mean, also in the conversation that I had with the guy that I'm consulting to, so he told me that he finally bought Canva. So I told him that Canva is the one of the subscriptions that I'm happy to pay them, because they have so many great benefits in the in the paid version, but also for the free version, it's such an amazing tool. So I totally agree with you that you can get an amazing logo in like 5 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, they have a logo. It blows my mind because that's not like something that's not in my wheelhouse necessarily, but I can make things look great in Canva. And they have a logo, like a logo button, make a logo here. So it's not that hard.
Awesome.
Right. To use.
So what about so you mentioned that you before we went on the call, so you mentioned that you're seeing some trends and you can share some best practices that you're seeing that are working with your clients in regards to Facebook and Instagram ads. So can you share a bit of the trends that you're noting and noticing?
Yeah. Well, can we back up just a sec and talk about there's a few challenges happening in Facebook and Instagram ads right now. And one of them is the fact that in 2020, for business owners that did stick with Facebook and Instagram ads, they got amazing results. Like the costs were so low because big companies like all the cruise lines and even like Target, for instance, quit advertising on Facebook for a little while when we shut down. So it caused the prices to drop really low for small business or for everybody that was still left in the platform. But now they're back up. And so that in itself is a lot of business owners are like, whoa, this is really expensive. I want to be careful with my money. And they actually they came back up and they haven't really gone down with Black Friday last year because it was even more online than it ever has been because people, weren't shopping. So that just the Facebook ad costs exploded. But then the factor that's making them challenging since really just the 1st of April, even though we've been anticipating this for a while, is this Apple's iOS 14 update, right? And just should I talk about what it is just for a second?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So the Apple, in response to us users of Apple products, decided to listen to people complaining about privacy infringement. So they tightened up all the privacy rules and are really allowing their users of any app that's on the Apple Store to opt in or out of tracking. Before, I think you could opt out of tracking, but the way before is the default was we were all tracked wherever we went, and you could probably like dig on the website somewhere and get out of the tracking. But now, if you have an app from the Apple Store, it says, "Do you want to be tracked or not?" And I just heard a number that, and don't quote me, you guys, because I might be, but something like 96% of people in the United States are opting out. And I mean,
that's a lot.
It's a lot, but it doesn't surprise because, just what's from the news and what's in the air. Like we kind of were expecting that. And the other part that's interesting is only like another number I heard from maybe like 3 weeks ago was that maybe something like only 20% of the people had actually updated to iOS 14, and we're already seeing craziness. So when everybody updates, who knows what's going to look like. So the deal is, you guys, if you're newer to Facebook ads, we really always relied on this pixel. What Facebook allowed us to do is go into your account or to my account, your business account, and you have a pixel that's unique to you that Facebook for free, which was cool, gave to you. And then you could put it on your website and track people that went from Facebook to your website. And it really helped dial in our ad costs. But also then, like for e-commerce, if you ran an ad to someone and they wanted to come check out your store, well, once they checked out the store, the pixel allowed us then to put an ad in front of them to invite them to come shop again. And I tell my friends, when you open Instagram and that perfect shirt that of course you love is there, or the pink bike your kid needs is right there. That's because of the pixel. And then I'm hearing it's true now. When you opt out, you're going to get ads for dog food and you don't have a dog, or I don't know, like men's shaving club and you're a woman. So, which kind of stinks. So the Apple's not explaining to people that you're still going to get ads. They're just not going to be relevant to you anymore. So Facebook spent $1 billion trying to fight Apple on this. And they basically, this isn't my narrative on it. They basically lost that fight. And, but they were doing a lot to prepare. It felt like they were doing more to fight it than to prepare. So there's a lot of things right now, that you can't see, I'm shrugging my shoulders, that Facebook's like, we don't know yet, but we're trying, like, what the best practices are. One cool thing though to note, before iOS 14, you had to use Facebook Ads Manager quite a bit to get live chat with Facebook. Like otherwise, when you had questions, you were just relegated to the help documentation, which is good, but like you never got a live person. Now everybody has access. So they are providing help. Like if you have a question, you can go to the help center on Facebook and they'll talk to you, and they're good. I've used them several times in my career, and they're really awesome and helpful. But yeah, so now to your question, some best practices that are working in lieu of the pixel, because you guys, it really what they were saying as we built up is e-commerce businesses, if you're not using Facebook ads yet, they're one of the biggest users of Facebook ads, and they have a lot of success with them, right? But when we were able to pixel your site, we could see who just visited the site and roamed around. We could see if people put something in their cart and abandoned their cart, and we could, see what they put in their cart. And so it really then let us feed people very poignant, targeted ads wherever they were in the customer journey. So, I mean, it's a big hit. And like I said, I think Facebook's going to keep making changes, and kind of, I did hear, this is interesting, kind of like what happened in the summer of 2020. I don't think it's going to be as drastic, but there probably will be benefits for people that don't abandon Facebook ads right now, because, especially because some people will. So the cost should go down a little, as problems come up. And I am seeing clients still have good results. So your question was, my favorite strategy that I really use with every single client is the video view option on, it's an objective on Facebook ads. You guys, when you set up an ad campaign in Facebook and Instagram, let's make that clear. You set up Instagram ads in Facebook Ads Manager. They give you 16 different objectives, meaning what do you want the viewer to do with this ad? Facebook's asking us. And the most expensive thing has always been to send people off of Facebook to a purchase. And then the second most expensive thing is just to send them off Facebook. But with this video view campaign, we're just asking people to stay on platform and watch a video. And so it doesn't cost very much. Like for, I have a couple clients that got 1 cent a view, and they count a view as 15 seconds of the video. But what's pretty cool is you can actually see people that watched it 15 seconds, 25, and all the way through. So what I like to do is start with, if we're starting out, maybe a new campaign or even new to Facebook and Instagram ads, since we can't rely on the pixel, which is what most e-commerce people put that pixel on the website and would feed ads to people that went to their website. Well, now we can start with a cold audience. That brand story comes into help. It comes in helpful here, because we'll think through, who do you think your ideal buyer is? And we, look at the traits of that, the characteristics of that person. Is she a man? Is she a woman? Maybe it's either. What's their age? But then real specific, because the cold targeting tools are super cool. Like, do you think they like, are they vegans? Do they do they follow Brene Brown? I mean, just all kinds of different things you can pull out. What we'll do is we maybe test 4 different audiences, different demographic, with the same video, right? And what that does for us is we see which cold audience responds, so that's helpful. But also, as we rack up views, and if it's 1 cent a view, which it could be, we can, when you get to 1,000, this is like, so that'd be $100, right? I mean, my numbers. Yeah. I don't know if I'm good on this spot. When you get to 1,000, it's super cool. You can actually then create a lookalike audience of those viewers. So this video view campaign helps us identify which cold audience work well. We can create an even better cold audience because we can create lookalikes of people that actually watch the video. And then we can retarget those. So a warm audience is people that actually watch the video. And and I've had people, lots of clients get 2 to 3 cents a view. And I mean, we'll rack up 10,000 viewers and then we feed them the ad, inviting them to buy something. And it works really well. It's pretty fun. And the lookalike audiences do really well as well. So we never even had to use that pixel,
How would the video look like in this case? Would it be like a direct response video or a bit more branding oriented or?
It could be, anything will work. And I've done different things because some clients aren't comfortable on video. So I don't know if this is real Facebook kosher. Maybe you do it real, but we make a TikTok. And even that one that's getting super old, but like a year ago with the pointing and the writing. And I've used that before. I have an artist that was selling art online and hers did really well, but she did she doesn't like to be on video either, but she doesn't mind her back painting. So she did a high speed, when they, it was about 1.5 minutes of a creation of one of her paintings. Cool. The trick is though, I saw with that, for instance, that was one of the 1 cent per view, but we were going after first time buyers of original artwork. And I think that video was so cool to watch that, we didn't have as great as results when we fed them the invitation to now buy. What we might have cost us more on the video views if maybe we had Carolina, or the artist, she didn't like to talk, but maybe someone talking over, maybe talking about what it means to own an original piece of art. So that's a great question, because I think that if you can get as close to, think of that value that the customer is going to get when they buy from you and do something around that, like maybe a demonstration of using your product and the value you get, or even, a testimonial could be is really good from someone that did buy from you. But so I think the closer it is to what you're selling later, the better, but it can be anything.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you need to be a bit careful of creating content that is, the fact that content is interesting doesn't necessarily mean it's going to create buyers or find people with high intent. So it's one thing to have cool content, but you also have to create content that creates buying intent.
Yeah, agree. Agreed.
And I did once a test of, I created a sequence of different videos, and from each I created like 5 videos, and from each video, like I took people that viewed 50%, and I targeted them with another video and another video and another video. I created some sort of a sequence. This is a feature that is available in Google and YouTube ads, but in Facebook it isn't available. So I customized it, and it had terrible results. But it was an interesting idea of, I tried to think through like about the funnel and the audience and the journey, and I created the sequence accordingly, but it didn't create good results. But this just goes to show you that you don't really know how the crowd will react. So you just need to keep on testing. Quick favor, guys. If you enjoy these shows and have been a listener for quite some time now, we would really, really appreciate it if you could take the time to give us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your preferred podcast app may be. Having lots of ratings and audience feedback makes our show become more visible across multiple platforms. And it also supports our mission of helping as many people as possible to become better marketers and better entrepreneurs. So if you're not driving and it wouldn't be dangerous, pause this thing right now and give us an honest review over your podcast app, and we will love you even more than we already do. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
Testing is the key, and if you can give yourself as much runway as possible, well, and this might not apply to e-commerce, but if you have like maybe a big sale coming up or something, if you can really dial in the testing, because it's super interesting, as far as even the audiences you're targeting too, as well as the content. Yeah,
I agree. And I'm not sure that I completely understood. So from the people that you created the audiences and the lookalikes of the views. So then do you also use a conversion targeting to convert them?
So once you and you could keep the video ad going indefinitely. I like to go up to a frequency of about 4.
Oh wow!
That y'all in Business Manager, that's one of the metrics you can see. But yeah, does that sound high or low to you?
Yeah, it sounds high. Sounds high.
It does. Yeah. Well, I think it comes from just that repetition. I mean, sometimes people won't even watch the first time it goes by, even though that they got hit by a frequency. Anyway, yeah. So to answer your question, then I'd send them. Well, and that's some of my tips, but I might try a conversion ad next to and call the viewers, the warm audience, and really invite them to purchase right there. So conversion to sale. And then I try the lookalikes too to see how they do. And you're really hitting a cold audience, but they're cold. And you could send the lookalikes the video. I've done that before too, and warm them up. And then also I would do the best performing cold audience, the demographic, and try to send them straight to conversion. Now it depends on what you're selling and what the price point is and who the audience is, if that's going to be enough warm up to get a buy, right? But in some cases it does. Yeah.
For sure. I totally agree. It totally depends. And also another thing that I've noticed, it also changes all the time. So even if something works for a while, you must keep on also testing other methods. So for me, video views never really worked, or PPE campaigns never really worked, but I make it a point every month or 2 just to retest it, because maybe something has changed with the algorithm that I'm not aware of, or I don't know, maybe I did something wrong. So in Facebook, because it's kind of a black box, so you shouldn't never neglect any method or best practice.
Right. I think, right. Right. I have, I mean, for the I've really just had it not work great for one client, that artist. Well, meaning her video was so cool, but then people weren't ready to buy the painting yet, you know? So that was my next couple suggestions. Something that Facebook ads managers weren't advocating for a while, and maybe some still aren't, but I've seen some great results, is to use ads to build your Instagram audience. And a lot of ads managers will say, you know, don't waste your money on ads, because ads are expensive. The whole process can be expensive for a social media follower, because you know, Mark Zuckerberg owns our followers. We don't own our followers. So you want to spend it on maybe an email address or a visit to your website. But so because we can't target website visitors, your social media audience is more important, especially Facebook and Instagram, when we're talking about Facebook and Instagram ads, because we can target all your followers. All right. So building them up organically is an option too. And what I mean by that, you guys, is in Business Manager, you can create an audience just like we could with the video views. We can send anybody that's interacted with your Instagram account, they don't even have to be a follower, an ad. And that's great, since we can't send people that visited your website. And I'm going to talk about email in a minute, but the truth is, you can't even, if you upload your email followers, which has always been amazing, or like upload your purchases, like we used to do in the good old days 3 months ago. If they've opted out of tracking, you can't, they don't include them in the list. So it's not, and if it's not going to work very well anymore. So it's worth building up your Facebook and Instagram followers, if you want to get ads that way.
So are you using paid ads in order to build the social? How are you doing this?
Yeah. Okay. So that's the trick. Yeah. Because organic takes a while. I love it, but it just slow. So patience and time. Patience. Right. Yeah. So I would say do that too. But if you want to try to get there faster, there is an objective to build your Facebook page following, which I don't think Facebook business pages get much play. I don't love them that much, but if you are getting action on your Facebook business page, then that would be an easy ad to run. They're not very expensive, because Facebook's happy for you to stay there. So there's an objective, and it just like basically shows someone to like the thumbs up. I'm giving Ron the thumbs up video, and then they click it. It makes it real easy for them to click. They don't do that for Instagram, but there's a way. What we've done, several clients, is we optimize the campaign for traffic. And we put the URL, your Instagram.com / my Meredith Kallaher, which is mine. And we send traffic there, and we only run. You could do it otherwise, but the only thing I've tried and it's worked really, really well is we hit manual placement. So at the ad set level, you can pick where your ad's shown, and we pick manual, and we pick only Instagram stories.
Nice.
So we're only running this ad to Instagram stories. Then the client, and we've done this two ways, either the business owner or like a happy client has, but usually it's been the owner. It's worked well. Say, hey, if I was doing it for my business, I'd say, hey, I'm Meredith Kallaher. I'm a Facebook and Instagram ad strategist. On my Instagram account, I love to talk digital marketing, storytelling, and complain about my teenagers. I don't know, just something if I thought my ideal client would be interested in that. So swipe up and follow me now, and they'll swipe up and they'll be on your profile. And what's pretty cool about this, even though the best I've seen is about, it's for a dentist too. And I help doctors quite a few with social media. It's not easy to run social media for a healthcare, but this dentist got $2 a follow. So the swipes were cheaper, but we were tracking the follows through her Instagram software, and we are super pleased with those results for and the reason why that's great, you guys, is then we can target those Instagram followers. But also, if you're like my artist client that people weren't quite ready to buy, social, especially Instagram, is a great way to engage with your audience, and I believe engagement is the best thing to turn your followers into customers, so I like that strategy.
Awesome. It's a very cool trick to use the stories and send them to a URL, which is actually the Instagram. I think sometimes I'm not sure if Facebook used to allow this kind of stuff. So sometimes they don't really like this stuff. So what I used to do is create a bit.ly link, because sometimes I used to send people to a ManyChat flow, and it flagged my account. So when I used a bit.ly link, it didn't flag. But I don't know if this still happens, but you should be aware of this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good to know that bit.ly would be helpful. I thought that that Facebook always looked at where the clients were landing, where their users were landing. But I accidentally, the other day on one of my ads, left off the end of the URL. Like, I think it got deleted, like the last letter of the URL. So it was not functioning, and they approved the ad. And I thought, I guess they don't go look at it was to go look at the landing page, because it wasn't working. But so you never know. But be careful. Make that bit.ly link. That's great. Yeah, it's always good to have.
I think I remember it was in regards to sending people to the Facebook group. I don't think that they're allowed to run Facebook ads to Facebook groups if you want to enlarge your group.
That's right. You're not. Did it work though? Were you able to?
At the end, I used like a tiny URL or bit.ly to send them to the ManyChat, and from ManyChat to the group. So it was kind of a workaround, but I don't like to make too many workarounds in Facebook, because at the end they block you. So you need to be conscious.
And they don't explain why sometimes. So it's I try to be careful for my job, but you got to be careful.
And before we also hopped on the call, so before we went live, so you mentioned that you highly suggest creating business accounts, so that people run their ad from business accounts. So can you elaborate why?
Well, I think that's really another one of Facebook's rules. Like, you're not supposed to advertise from your personal account or do business on your personal account. And so I do advocate following the rules, even though I'm not, again, that Enneagram type 7, that's not in my nature. I'm more just like, let's get things done. Let's do it the most fun, best way. But I know people that like literally have been banned for life, and they have no idea why. And because they don't tell you. And that would suck. And the thing is, they might overlook like my URL that wasn't working, but it is not easy to get back on if you've been banned. Like they sniff out new accounts or so really that's one of the main reasons. And but I was just mentioning there's kind of a list of things that you have to do to advertise with iOS 14. Like we all have to be using the double opt-in security now. I think they're just trying to make Apple happy. And if you can verify your business on Facebook, fantastic. Not everybody can, but if you can, I would. I heard that you're less likely to get shut down. But most of my clients aren't able to yet. But anyway, I did put together a list of these best practices that are important to use now to work with iOS 14. And I'll share that with your listeners if you think they'd like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. We'll maybe put the URL in the show notes, but I'll put it on my website /XCOM or EcomXFactor.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, great.
Okay, great. Yeah.
What about other best practices that you know? So you mentioned the video views. What else have you seen lately that's been working well?
And then so building up your social media, and then considering, and I don't know that every e-commerce, and I know a lot, but maybe when you start an e-commerce business or you're newer, that you thought about collecting emails or maybe even having an email newsletter. But I do think that could be a good idea for a couple of reasons. I mean, like I said before, the list, you can try to upload your list, and some of them might not have opted out. And it might work for a while too, if only 20% of people have downloaded, But so what I mean, you guys, is you would, encourage people that you put an ad to on Facebook to give you their email. And the campaign is a conversion campaign, just like we do if we want them to purchase something from you, but we're asking for a lead instead of a purchase. And there's a couple things that the list can help you. And this isn't necessarily for iOS 14, but it can help you nurture people that are really interested in you, like we were talking about on Instagram. And it actually is better. The email list is better because you're in control of who gets the email, where we have to fight that algorithm on Instagram, right? And so the freebie opt-in could be great for the e-commerce business. But also I thought this was interesting, we've done this before, is to create a VIP, to put you on a VIP list is the ad. And one thing that, because costs have been a little higher lately and they go up, especially like for Black Friday, like we mentioned, or we just passed Father's Day and Mother's Day when we're recording this and costs go up. Well, if you're going to have a sale on Mother's Day or Father's Day and you are on a tight, or Black Friday, and you're on a tight ads budget, you could, let's talk about Black Friday. You could decide to put a bulk of your money in September when prices are lower, and you do a video view campaign, and then and find your people, and then send them an invitation to be on your VIP list. Tell them you're going to have the best Black Friday sale ever. It's going to be this. And if they want to be the first to know it, and you have to be honest, or people, they might fool them once, but fool them twice and forget it, Sure. But tell them that people on the VIP list will have first access to the sale. Open it up to them a day before or whatever, and put your ad dollars there instead of, meaning building up that list, instead of trying to compete with all the other people advertising, right around Black Friday. Yeah. And I think it would be cheaper in lieu of like these expensive prices, and it would help you nurture your people.
This is also called sometimes like an early bird list, because So how would you go about? I mean, what did you do? Did you send a newsletter on a weekly basis or every day, or what did you think worked well, or what were the messages? What the content that you were creating in the emails?
I've seen so many different things, but it depends on your audience. But if it doesn't have to be just a value bomb. I mean, something that, and even if it's funny, like it just is a joke to make people laugh. But it just, if I'm a business owner and I'm trying to, I know it can seem like a drag, but if you just carve out a little bit of your day and just find something that interests you, because that'll make it easier to keep this newsletter going. And And yeah, but I mean, most of us are interested in the products we're selling. So if you can, you know, talk about how to use something that you sell, or a new color that you have coming out, or just share a client story. People love that. So I think, again, it's sort of testing to see what people respond to, because you will see what people are responding to because, of open rates and
click rate, yeah, for sure.
And I just get consistent so people know what to, I mean, I do like once a week. I think that's enough. I don't know that you have to go more than once a week, but if that's just too much to commit to, then maybe even once every other week, is a place to start.
Cool. This is a great advice, because I've seen many people do this. I also try to do this, but I never thought about the fact that you're actually, like, one of the biggest perks is the fact that your CPMs in September are going to be way lower than in November or December. So I just thought about it as an idea to warm up the audience, but I didn't think about the media cost arbitrage that you're doing, which makes a lot of sense.
Right. And you could decide not to even, run at, like, if you run a really tight budget, because remember, in your email, you might do the early bird special, but then you're inviting them to your sale through email too, right? So that's good. So you've warmed them up, and you also have a communication channel with them that you control. And you guys, the reason that the newsletter is another, like, pro to write on a consistent basis or reach out, and to be writing, is they get used to seeing you and they will open the email. But, a lot, if you say big sale in the subject line and it's something they want, they'll probably open, but it can't hurt.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Is there anything else that you wrote down and you wanted to share with us?
Those were my major tips I wrote down.
Awesome. Yeah, it has been great and very valuable. And so if I sum things up, so we talked about the video views, which is something about which I would like to test as well, because I tried it in the past but didn't see very good results. But obviously something might have been wrong, so I will test this. And we mentioned the iOS corrections, and we talked about the early bird, and also the Instagram trick. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. And you're going to share the best practices, the freebie that you've created.
Yes, I'll put it on the website. I think there are about 7 or 8 things that you want to make sure are in place. Just like you said, though, a lot of them are easy, and I'm going to share like how to verify your website. There's 100 YouTube videos on how to do that. So I think it will be valuable, you guys, because I just put everything you need to do all in one place, and I will link to information on how to do them all. Correct. But there's some new things that we didn't have to do 6 months ago to run ads. So
yeah, and actually, to be honest, I did one of the changes that I did was in the settings of the Shopify store. So I changed something there in regards to the way the data was shared in between Shopify and Facebook, and it really improved my results. I don't know if it wasn't a split test, so I don't know if it was by chance or other external factor, but it really increased the results pretty fast. So I'm thinking maybe I think
what you did, it's the conversion API.
Exactly.
And it's not a fix for these privacy rules, but it's a way that our server, okay, I'm going to start to get a little, I'm not real technical, but as far as like computer programming, but it's our server, where your Shopify server talks to the Facebook server, and it just, it's helpful because the results will match more closely. Like Facebook tells us we got 75 purchases, Shopify probably it's not going to be exact 76, but if you don't use conversion API, it might be way off. And this is going to be in the notes, but one thing that's been helpful, if you do create a funnel, like which we're not doing too much for e-commerce, but if you did do like the email freebie, if you can create a separate one for only Facebook ads, that will really help you read your results. Like if you're trying to get people's email list, don't send your organic followers to the same funnel, because then because the results Facebook's showing us are crazy, you guys. They're better when you do conversion API, and so it's easier if you can say, okay, my funnel says this are the metrics, and you can see what's happening.
This is a very, very great idea. And tracking and reporting is so important. So it's very good to isolate some variables in order to be more precise. And the fact that I mentioned the conversion API, because I want to emphasize that probably in the PDF that you're going to share, people shouldn't overlook this, because it's not just bureaucracy. It's going to also improve their results. So,
improve, and not just not just because you know what's happening. Facebook,
exactly.
That's the deal. Like what makes them so powerful is because they could see who was when we use the pixel, they could see who was buying from you, and then they would put your ad in front of more people, just like the buyers, and without, then they were going blind. So this conversion API helps them read the results better, which is what we really, that's even more important than us reading them. I mean,
exactly.
Pretty much. And another cool thing, when they first mentioned conversion API, it was, and it really, if you look in Facebook's help documents, I mean, it's like starts to sound real overwhelming, like call your developer and code this and code that. But a lot of platforms like Shopify, a lot of you guys, and I love Kajabi, but that's not really for ecom, and even a few others, they make it super easy. It's not like you literally toggle a button on in Kajabi, and I think Shopify too. So don't overlook that. And I'll hook you up with all the things you need to do.
Also great.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Meredith. It's been great fun and a lot of great ideas. I really appreciate you hopping on this call, and have a nice rest of your day.
Thanks, Ron. You too.
Awesome. Bye-bye. Take care. Hi guys, this is Yaron again. Just a few more things before you take off. Number one, if you want to learn more about e-commerce and marketing, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, which is called EcomXFactor Official. Number two, check out our Facebook group, which is called EcomXFactor Marketing and E-commerce Mastermind. This is a great place to ask questions and connect with other business owners. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues, plus leave a review at your favorite podcast app.